the Jim Wilder story?
Well, I guess the thing about it is I was curious, and I've always been curious about how the mind and body work. I think possibly partly because I had a stroke when I was 2 years old, which is sort of unusual.
Mm.
That was one of these really nasty tropical viruses that made me, blow out a blood vessel, and so this whole curiosity of how things work, and also just added to that Jesus ended up with a physical body, which he's going to use for all eternity. And so, these things are meant to combine in some way. And, how does that work together? Because, from as early as I remember, there's this fight going on between science and Christianity, more or less. And, it's something that should have harmonized. And so my curiosity of how things work, from taking apart everything I could as a kid, and trying to put it back together, to looking at plants and animals and ecosystems and humans and cultures, and traveling from one culture to another, realizing, the Christians in one culture look so different from the Christians in another culture, but they look more like their own culture than they do Christians elsewhere. It's like, how do people work? This is a very strange thing. So that fascination keeps me going, because every day I wake up curious about something.
You also, though, grew up in a cross-cultural environment. I mean, or were you born in the Andes, or did you go there as a child?
Spanish was my first language, yeah. And we were
Wow.
raised in a small little village up in the Andes. First telephone I think we got when we were 15. I was 15, and so television wasn't around, and we rode horses and stuff like that. So it's almost like growing up in a different century, really.
Yeah.
And among indigenous peoples groups, and seeing quite a variety of different cultures. Yeah, it was a very fascinating place to grow up. And on the other side, they were having a civil war where about 250,000 people were killed, sort of Rwandan style. And so you got to see some of the, ugly side of human nature as well. So very diverse.